Howdy, howdy out there in video land. Let's get our radio guys going. Howdy, howdy out there in radio land. Que pasa, amigos? Aldo, where are you? Are you listening, Aldo? Yeah, you should be listening because I might give you a couple words in Spanish here if you're listening. Okay, let's get this show on the road today. My name is Paul Calamere. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Studios of 4680Q, Your City, Your Voice. We're ready to go here on a finally Friday. It doesn't get better when you're heading to the weekend, and what a weekend this is going to be. It's supposed to be nice, number one. You have two things going on this weekend. The first thing is Friday the 13th, which is today, and it's the big Port Dover run. Everybody's heading down to Dover. That's where all the bikers are heading. So if you're out in the streets and that, be careful. There's going to be a lot of bikers around. They're going to go down there and enjoy Friday the 13th in Port Dover. It's been happening rain, shine, or snow since 1981. It doesn't stop them. You're going to see Paulie with his thong man, we call him. Paulie, thong man. Yeah, he's going to be down there for sure. He's always there, and he gets on the TV because all he wears is that thong. That's it. And he does it even in the cold. This guy's whacked. He's whacked. But in 1981, a small gathering of bikers met at a hotel down there, and the meeting never ended. It's a tradition that's continued on, and everybody goes there to partake in music, food, festivities, camaraderie, all the bikers. Largest gathering of its kind in Canada. For those that don't indulge, you can still go down there, have a good time if you don't have a bike. Just be careful. There's a lot of bikes around, and we want them to keep the rubber side down. Keep the rubber side down, brothers. No accidents, no tragedies. Enjoy your day and be careful. That's all I have to say. But if you want to have a good day, just drive down to Dover. Dover. It'll blow your mind. And of course, Sunday is Father's Day weekend. So that's a big part of the weekend for a lot of people. The Rib Fest is going on at the Convention Center. And that's a traditional Father's Day deal that has been going on for 20 years at least, run by the Rotary Club before. Now it's being run by another bunch who decided to pick up after the Rotary dropped it. And they're going to run it. So that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. I like it. And good for them that they picked up on this great Father's Day event. Take your dad down, get some ribs, and celebrate that you have your father around. My father died in 1976. And he was young, 48 years old or something. So I haven't celebrated Father's Day for a long time. And I don't have any kids that I know of. So really, I don't do a lot of celebrating for Father's Day as well. But for anybody who's lucky enough to have their father around or that is a father, celebrate. Celebrate with your kids. Have a good time. And I want to wish a big happy Father's Day to all the mothers out there that are filling in both roles. That's right. There's a lot of single mothers out there that have also been fathers to their kids. And to you, I salute you. Good job for the most part. That's the big weekend that's going on here. And while you're out and about, because it's going to be a busy weekend, watch out for these idiot drivers. I'm telling you, it's got to be a full moon or a lot of Subarus on the road, because every time I go out, somebody pulls a stunt. They're running red lights. If they're not doing that, this guy today, he's beside me in the Valleyway intersection there, and I have to make a left onto Victoria to get down to Park Street to come to the studio. So I'm there, and this guy pulls out and then makes a left right in front of me. You know, I don't understand it. Are these people stupid or what? Why would anybody do that? Why wouldn't he just let me go? No, he goes right in the middle of the intersection and makes a left. No signal, no nothing. And luckily, I don't trust anybody, especially Subaru drivers. They're the worst. But I don't trust anybody on the road these days. Seriously, if you're going to go through an intersection, look both ways and just pause. Pause at the light, because somebody's coming through that stoplight. I'll guarantee you that. You wonder why there's red light cameras and everything? Well, that's why. That's why. It's ridiculous out there on the roads. Be careful. There's a lot of people, I think, driving around with no licenses or something. There's something going on. No licenses. There's something going on. I don't know exactly what it is in this city, what's with this city, but for some reason, it's just unbelievable. These people, I don't know what they're doing. Where they got their licenses from Oscar, I don't know where they got them, but they certainly didn't pass any tests because nobody who passed the test or went through it drives like that. Anyway, rocking my Day 1000 musician shirt today. I love this shirt. This will get you noticed on the street. Okay, over to my sponsors. They're an integral part of the show. We want to talk about the sponsors: Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamill Machine Company. All three of these sponsors support the show. They support Niagara Falls. They supported the Rick Rose event. My hat's off to them. Thank you so much for making it a successful event. Last Saturday at Taps Brewhouse, when they named the street after Rick Rose, we're still celebrating it, believe it or not. Everybody's still talking about it. Even Mayor Jim was on CHCH this morning talking about it with some pictures of everybody standing around when it happened. So great to keep Rick in our memories. We're coming up to the anniversary of when he left the surly bonds of earth to touch the face of God. And we miss him. We miss him. Well, Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Listen, you're 2 weeks away from D-Day. That's the day your kids get off of school and they say, Daddy, Mommy, we want to go somewhere. We don't want to stay in this stinking town. And you know what happens? You jump them in the car, you go down, you get on the QEW, you hit about Beamsville, and then your car breaks down. That's why you go to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop and you get Ken Hunter to check over your car, throw it on his diagnostic equipment. He's going to check your brakes, your fluids, your systems, your air conditioning. He's going to go through the car for you, fix any problems so that you have a great motoring summer. No breakdowns. Everything goes good and everything else. So get your car in Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Oakwood Drive, next to the Kia dealership. Yeah, it's so simple. Be proactive. How simple can that be? If you get in a smash 'em up derby because of all these terrible drivers in town, first of all, check they have insurance because most of them probably don't have a license neither. But when you get past that, take your car to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, full body shop. You'll take your car in wreck, send it back to you in showroom condition, just like new. Everybody's going to be happy. Support our sponsors because they support the show. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button down here. Hit that button. Hit the notification bell. Yeah, do us a favor. The more people that subscribe, it helps the algorithm. It helps to get the show out there. And as we gear up towards the election in 2026, we'll have a lot to say about all the candidates that are running and all the incumbents. So make sure you hit that subscribe button to see what the heck we're talking about. Okay, moving on. Let's do some viewer comments. I had some comments. Yesterday's show, the Iceman, at the Iceman 69. Live and Let Die, Jane Seymour and Yaphet Kotto. And if you don't know what that means, well, if you're listening to the show, you know exactly what it means because Pete Dichter was in the house and we were talking about the jazz festival that's going to go on in Niagara Falls tomorrow on Queen Street. And they're going to line up a band and march it down Erie Avenue from the Innovation Hub or Zimmerman or whatever and come up Queen Street, just like you see in the movies for New Orleans, where they have the band playing and marching and people join in and they start all dancing and everything. That's what they're planning. And I said, that was in a James Bond movie. If you remember, they grabbed the casket, went down, they killed the guy, threw him out, they put the casket, picked them up, and they kept marching. That's what they're going to be doing, but there's not going to be a casket. I couldn't remember the movie, and it was Live and Let Die. That's the movie. So that's what John's talking about. Iceman 69's talking about. Jane Seymour starred in it, and Yaphet Kotto. Yeah, and Jane Seymour was called Solitaire, if I'm not mistaken. That was her name. She was a seer. She could read cards. Okay, so that's that comment. Thanks, John. We couldn't remember. We were struggling with it yesterday. Johnny had it, though. Johnny's got it. He's okay. So tomorrow's that parade. Laurie Parliament. At Laurie Parliament. Peter is 100% correct about the criminal elements of the immigrants. All these people think it's racist because you tell the truth about it. and they're going to wake up the hard way. Well, you are correct, Lori. I agree 100%. I've been saying it on this show for months. Whenever I see something like that going on, I say round up the usual suspects, go to Bramladesh or Mississauga or Scarberia and round them all up because they're there. And everybody gets mad at me. Racist. They call me, all the names. Racist, white supremacist, idiot, moron, jerk, goof, bigot. What else do they call me? Stupido. You name it, they call me it. But the truth is the truth. You see it regularly. You see it on the news. When they round up the people, it's always the same people. I don't make it up. I mean, how many German people do you see that are breaking into jewelry stores and dealing large quantities of fentanyl, shooting people on the streets? I never seen any German names. It's always the same people. I don't see them in the gang killings, drugs, and human trafficking. I mean, the facts are the facts. So thank you for that comment, Lori, and I agree 100%, and Peter's right. But the best comment I had, it wasn't on my Your City, Your Voice video. It was on the Habsolutely video. I do the Habsolutely on Wednesdays, right? And it read, "You look like you belong in the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie." And Pirates of the Caribbean. And I go, "Yes, matey. Have Deps people contact my manager and agent, and I'll attend a roll call, a screen call for that movie." There you go. Our matey. So there you go. I look like I should be in the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and I'll take that. I'll take that. Sure, why not? Put a pirate hat on me and everything. I get past. Okay, that's about all the comments. There wasn't a lot of comments. A lot of people are talking about things, but they don't comment on my video as much as they comment on Facebook and just talk about different things, and we go back and forth about them. And a lot of them are just trolls. They troll. Some guy named Phil Rose is on one of the pages. He trolls me all the time. So I just laugh at the guy. They're so ridiculous. Phil Rose, no relation to Rick Rose. Don't worry. Rick was a good guy. This guy's an asshat. Okay, so the agenda is up for Tuesday's city council meeting. I took a cursory look at it, and I was just looking at, just different things that might be interesting to me. I'll get into them more over the weekend, and then I'll be talking about it on Monday with Dave Wheeler when we do Monday's city council review show. And item 7.4 looked pretty interesting. Level of service asset management plan. So read that one carefully, because I think that's the one that we throw 1% of the budget at every year. And that's added on to our normal increase in taxes. So the province mandated that, we take a inventory of all our assets and take a look at them and then figure out what we're going to have to replace, so we have a plan for the future to deal with assets, whether they be hard assets like trucks and vehicles and equipment and that kind of thing, or more soft assets like properties and buildings and things like that. So we know what we're doing and where we're going and how we're going to use them. So it'll be interesting to see where we're going with that one, because they're talking about a big increase over the next 10 years to be able to deal with our infrastructure and assets that are going to be failing, are going to need replacement, and that kind of thing. So read that one. And a couple of planning matters. One looks like a repeat visit to Carlton Street, where they were going to build some townhouses and that. And there's another item in there about waiver requests, fee waiver requests by certain groups. And I don't know why it's on this agenda, to be honest with you, because they were going to do it twice a year or something, in the spring and the fall. And now there's a bunch of them that have come in now, and I didn't think they were going to entertain it because they only have $50,000 to spend, and they already spent like $35,000 of it. So I didn't think they were going to entertain them till the end of the summer, new ones. But apparently they're on the agenda. So I want to see how they handle them. And a lot of them are like money that is taxpayer dollars they're waiving. So if somebody says, I want to use Queen Street for anything, well, the city would charge normally, or the Gale Center, the city would charge normally because they have to put staff on it. It does cost taxpayers money to waive those fees. So the city's getting a little bit more strict with those fees. Now there's a bunch of them that are coming back, and I want to see what they're going to say to this, especially since they don't have a lot of money left over to waive any fees. And there's still things that we do in the city, projects and events that happen in the fall, where people will be asking for fees to be waived and that kind of thing. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they come up with that. That's going to be good. A few flag raising requests, which is a big no to me. Do not raise any flags for anyone. Stay out of this geopolitical nonsense. And there's a couple of motions. One of them, I think, was the one with Mona Patel about the crosswalk for the Veterans Memorial Remembrance Day crosswalk. So I think that's brought up. I saw that in there. So yeah, I just took a cursory look. I just wanted to see what's coming up, and that's about all I saw that probably is going to interest anybody. There may be other things that come up during it. There's a lot of reports and that kind of thing that come in, and a lot of them are just to receive and file. Some are to act on, that kind of thing, and we'll see what the residents of Niagara Falls bring up because there's always people there that are going to talk on certain subjects, and it's interesting stuff. Okay, hey, if you notice this big thing on my forehead, it's all right. I had a little, you get those, they call them age spots or whatever. So I got my doctor, he zaps them with liquid nitro, right? And nitrogen, and they zap them right away. But in the meantime, they leave a pretty good mark there. It looks like somebody whacked me on the head with a 2x4, but they didn't. Everything's okay. Okay, let's move on. And I'm looking at the review to see what's going on. I always go to the review, right? I subscribe online to it because I like to see what's going on around the city. I am not an investigative reporter. I'm just a commentator. I give you my opinion on crap. So here's my opinion. Another day and another article about doctor shortages in the region, especially in South Niagara. To be honest with you, I'm getting sick and tired, no pun intended, of these articles and people whining there's not enough doctors. This seems to be every day now. People are talking about this, and I'm tired of it because nobody does anything about it. Oh, we can have enough doctors. They put money up. It's not working, except for Welland. Somehow they found the secret to attract doctors over there. I don't know what they're giving them, but they're giving them $100,000 to start. And I don't know, for some reason, they find a way to attract 10 or 12 doctors when the rest of the region can't attract any. Niagara Falls, I think we signed up one and we give them 50 grand. So, here's the thing. The current batch is coming from the fact that they're going to close down some urgent care centers in Fort Erie and Port Colborne on long weekends and certain days of the week because they just don't have enough doctors to staff them, even with doctors working overtime already. But whose fault is that? Whose fault is it that we don't have enough doctors? It's not our fault. We're always begging more doctors. So it's got to be the health system's fault. They're not doing it right, or they're not promoting it right, or there's something wrong here. And everybody says, well, we need out of the box thinking. But no, we don't need out of the box thinking. Out of the box thinking is what they've been trying to do for the last 20 years with the $100,000 signing bonus and everything else. We need to throw the box away and start a brand new box. It hasn't been working. We're still short of doctors, critically short of doctors, and we have a new hospital being built. So if we keep on the way we're going now, we're never going to have enough doctors. Forget about it. It's not going to be enough. We're not going to get attract enough the way we're doing it now. So why don't we try what John Ringo Beam said, and that is to have the city hire doctors. That's right. Just hire a bunch of doctors. Right out of med school, hire them. Tell them, here, you come to Niagara Falls and you don't have to do anything except doctor. We're going to give you an office. We're going to set you up in that office with the equipment you need. We're going to give you administration. We're going to run the business for you. You do not have to run the business. Most doctors, when they come out of med school, they're really good at what they do, doctoring. Oh yeah, they're doctors, but not good business people. And to put that added stress on them to open a practice, hire the right people, hire somebody to run the front desk and appointments. I mean, and then make sure it's a viable business, that it's running properly, right? And schedule properly. I mean, this is a big deal for these guys. That they don't get taught that in med school. They get taught how to fix people, right? How to diagnose, how to refer, how to give people drugs. That's what they get taught. They don't get taught the business end of it. And it's a process. So we could offer them that whole package. Why wouldn't they come here for it? And then we pay them a salary, and the salary will be in line with what a doctor, say a first-year doctor, second-year doctor, whatever they come in as, it would be in line with what those doctors are making. And of course, we'd have a bunch of names to give them right away, referrals, because people always ask the city, I need a doctor. Who do I go to? Well, there's a lineup. There's names and names and names. So, there's already referrals for them. We could send people to them right away. And, this is what's needed. And it sounds wild, but Simcoe's going to try it. They're thinking out of the box. As a matter of fact, they threw the old box away because it didn't work. Now they got a new box they're working with. And they're going to give this a try. And that's the way that we should be looking, thinking of something totally new, and see if we can attract these bright med students to Niagara Falls to start their practice. Pay them a salary. They don't have to worry about income. They can sign a 5-year contract. After that, if they want to hang out their own shingle, why not? Sure, go ahead. Go ahead. But until you get to that point, you're working for us. I love the idea. I love it. Put them on the payroll, and then when they have visits, those visits, that payroll comes to the city to pay for it, to pay for the office, to pay for their salary and everything else. I think this makes a lot of sense. And, will it work or won't it work? How do I know? I've never done it. I don't know. But I'd be willing to give it a shot, because what we're doing now isn't working. What do we got to lose? We don't hire anybody. We're not hiring anybody now. But it sure would be nice to walk up to a kid coming out of medical school and saying, listen, come to Niagara Falls. You don't have to worry about nothing. We got a room waiting for you. You walk in, turnkey. You'll have a secretary there. You'll have administration. You won't have to worry about anything. Just go do your job, and you're good to go. And you're going to get a salary commensurate with somebody of your qualifications or your tenure. What would be wrong with that? John Ringo Beam, what's wrong with that? Nothing. Let's see if we can do it. All we have to do is just get one of these decrepit buildings we have here in Niagara Falls that's blank, empty, like the exchange, and open a couple offices and call it the medical exchange. Try it out. See how it works. We have lots of buildings in the city, lots of property owned by the city. Why not give it a shot? That's all I'm saying. Okay, let's get over to my second sponsor, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And you know what? When you want a pizza, and you want a good pizza, and you want pizzas that are made consistently, so when you go back time after time, they're good. They have the same flavor, the same way they're built. It's Pete's Pizza. That's the one in the city, I'm telling you right now. They use the Mancini family recipe for sauce and crust. It's been around for 40 years. It's been successful. People love it. They use Saputo mozzarella mixed with brick cheese. How can you beat that? Put it on the pizza in the right ratios with fresh toppings. It's a winner. It's got to be a winner, and believe me, it is. Chicken wings, fantastic. Poutine, fantastic. I had a chicken parm sandwich there that was out of this world. They were just putting it together, experimenting with it. They probably got it on the menu now. I know they have 15% off your order if you order over $25 worth of food. Can't beat it. Wednesdays, I believe, $19.99 for a tray of pizza with 3 toppings. Thursdays, $9.49 a pound wings, I believe they are. They always have specials going on. You can't miss. They have combo specials, panzerotti, poutine, steak and cheese subs. Seriously, folks. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, 905-374-2222. You cannot go wrong. Give them a call today. You know you want a pizza. It's Friday the 13th. Try your luck. Go down there. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry whether it's going to be good or not. There's no luck involved. They make a great pizza. Pete's PizzaVictoria.ca to order, or Skip or Dash or any of those ones. They use them all. Give them a shot today. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. And support our sponsors because they support the show and they support the city. Thank you very much. Now, this is pretty cool. I was reading about this, and this is something I think anybody from Niagara Falls is interested in. If you've lived in Niagara Falls all your life, like me and a lot of other people, you'll know what I'm talking about. And that's this new Daredevil exhibit at the Skyline Tower. And that's something I would like to see. There's not too many attractions I either haven't been on already or been to already or I'm not interested in. But this is one that I would love to see. It's called Daredevil Barrels and highlights the wild stories of those lunatics that would dare to challenge Niagara Falls strapped into some kind of contraption. Most of them barrels, by the way, to give the falls a shot. You'd have to be crazy to do it, but they do. And they love it. To each their own. And during my lifetime, I've seen Roger Woodward go over the falls in a life jacket and make it. You remember that. I remember when I was a kid, him coming out of the front of the hospital. I lived across the street from the hospital on Portage Road. I lived right across the street when he came walking out there. I can't wait to see this. The exhibit allows visitors to delve into the motivations behind these daring acts by viewing both authentic and replica barrels and other contraptions that were used to take the plunge. And there's been more than just barrels that went over there. There's been balls. There's been jet skis. All kinds of stuff. One guy just jumped in to commit suicide, and he made it. No life jacket, nothing. They picked him up at the bottom. He's alive. Can you imagine that? And they have storyboards explaining the tales behind the acts and the people who are loony enough to take the challenge, the where and why of their decision. They have 14 contraptions, barrels, and vessels on display, including the first woman and first person ever, Annie Taylor's barrel. Imagine that, which started the fad in 1901. In 1901, Annie Taylor strapped herself in a wooden barrel, an old wine barrel or something, and took the plunge over the falls and lived. 1901 that was. I can't even imagine strapping myself inside a wooden barrel and going over the falls. I mean, seriously, you'd have to be a total maniac to do that and think you're going to live. And it goes right up to when Dave Mundy, he went over twice, the last time in 1993. They're all there to see. Price is like $5, $5 to go through. Are you kidding me? Today, $5? What are you going to do with $5 today? Not much, but you can go see this display. And I'd say that's a bargain. That's a real bargain to go through that, especially for anyone that has lived here all their life and have heard the legends of the hills and the others that took the plunge, some surviving, most not making it. Yeah, and like I say, there were even 2 that went over without any protection, while Roger Woodward, he was only a child, 8 years old or something. I don't remember his exact age, but he wasn't that old. And he went over with just a life jacket. He was in a boat driven by a Mr. Honeycutt, I believe the guy's name was. And they were going down the river. The engine stalled, and him and Roger Woodward's sister jumped out. He had a life jacket on. He was just a light little kid. Went down right over the falls. It must have thrown him clear, and he managed to survive it. They picked him up at the bottom alive and really not injured at all. So there's been all kinds of stuff, and the jet ski guy was the best. He took a full blast shot at the falls. His jet ski went out. He was supposed to undo a parachute to safety. Chute never opened, and that was a tough one. That was a tough fall for that guy. But yeah, I think in Niagara Falls, New York, they have a little Daredevil museum over right on Main Street, and I think that jet ski's in that one. Could be. So why did people even go over in the first place? Why would they risk their life to do this? Well, most of them did it for money. They wanted the fame and fortune behind going over, and they thought they'd live, and they'd take their barrel on tour, and they'd go, and people would pay to see them in the barrel. They make a fortune, but none of them ever did. None of them really made any money, and most of them ended up broke, and they died broke. That's if they survived in the first place. And some are buried around here. Some are buried in the cemeteries around here. People went over twice. Two people went over in a barrel a couple times. So that I got to go see that for $5. I think that's worth a trip to the Skyline to go see that. I want to thank Ray Spiteri for the great article in the review. And if you get a chance, you're down by the Skyline, check it out. I think it'd be well worth it, to be honest with you. Okay, so this federal jobs minister, Patty Hadju, I don't know how you pronounce it. Hadju. I don't even know what language that is. Ordered a vote on Canada Post's final contract offer to the 55,000 employees. So Canada Post has offered the Posties a settlement. And they said, this is it. And the union doesn't like that. They don't like that decision. They don't like their offer. And they called it an attack on workers' rights and something that labor experts say won't bring an end to the contract dispute. So they made the offer and they say, and that's it. Either take this or we're going another way. And the best way would be for the Posties to take the offer. Take the contract to the workers. Forget about this union. Take it to the workers, the 55,000 workers, and ask them if they vote yes for this contract that's been offered. Forget about the union. The unions are there to make money for the unions. Forget about them. Screw the union. The workers want to work. The union wants to make money. Let the workers decide their own fate. They could go on strike at any time, but they're not because they don't want to go on strike. They want to work. They don't want to sit out like they did for a couple months, 3 months last fall, standing around garbage cans at the back of the post office down here on Queen Street. They don't want to do that. And I can't say that I blame them. Who wants to do that? They want to work. So go take this deal. Don't worry about the union. They'll get over it. And if you don't, you can see the writing on the wall. I mean, the post office is going to go the way of the dodo sooner or later. If they take the contract and the post office can somehow manage to get through this, I mean, they're spilling red ink. $3.8 billion. And you know where that red ink comes from? Us. We pay the way. Taxpayers. So we can't lose money anymore. They've got to do something. It's a critical time for not only the Posties, but Canada Post itself. Now, the offer included from Canada Post a 13% pay raise spread over the next 4 years, as well as a $1,000 signing bonus. So they're all going to get $1,000 up front as soon as they sign. And I think if you take it to the postal workers, common sense will prevail. They will make the right decision. They will say yes overwhelmingly if they're allowed to vote and get the union out of the negotiations. I think they'll say yes. Stay tuned to this one. It's coming down to the wire here, and there's going to have to be a decision made regardless of what these posties think, of what the union thinks. Canada Post has to have some concessions. And remember, Canada Post means you and me because we're paying the way. We're paying the way for guys who deliver flyers. And if they don't get going, if they don't settle this, what's going to happen is they're going to start laying them all off. And they're going to put in super mailboxes where you go to the corner to get your mail, and they don't need post guys to run around. One guy can do 30 mailboxes around the city. He just takes the mail out of his little truck, puts it in the boxes, and moves to the next one, into the next one, into the next one. That's how simple it is. And then we go to the super mailboxes and pick up our mail. So you want to go door to door? You're going to have to give concessions. That's all there is to it, or else they're just going to get rid of it. They can't continue to bleed red ink. It's just not going to happen. That's my opinion. If you differ from my opinion, leave a comment. I'm sure there are people who would like to right now tell me I'm a jerk. Maybe I am. But it's my opinion. You have yours. Put it in the comments, and we will discuss what you say, your angle on this. Thank you very much. Okay. If you don't think this climate change hoax is costing you a lot of money, think again. We know it costs us a ton with the carbon tax. They've taken it off, but they're going to put it back on some other way. This chili con carne guy, as Pete Dichter calls him, chili con carne, was a big advocate of not only the carbon tax, but of upping it, doubling it, tripling it. He's just not letting it go so easy. He's not going to let it go so easy. We're gonna get zapped another way. Now, Mayor Jim Diodati says that because these woke climate change people think the paint used to paint the lines on the roads gives off too much pollution, i.e. gases, from the oil-based paints when they evaporate, they've changed the paint. They had to change the paint because the woke were crying, oh, you're painting the roads, that's evaporating, getting into the killing climate change, oh, pollution. So now all of a sudden they had to bend, and they're going to go and look for other kind of paint that don't last. You got to paint twice as much, 3 times as much, because it doesn't last without the oil based in it. The lines have to be painted twice as much. And you know what that means? Trucks have to be running twice as much. Everything involved with painting the streets have to be running twice as much. Double your pleasure, double your fun. Paint the line twice instead of just one. And you know, it's a fact. They found this to be a fact that without clean, clear lines on roads, there's more accidents. There's more accidents. And you know what? I don't know if I believe that or not. Even with the lines, these people are terrible drivers. Lines or no lines, I guess the lines help a bit, but the other ones are terrible. I mean, I think it has more to do with the traveling public. They just don't know how to drive or anything else. They're terrible. But what these Malamugats are too stunad to realize is that the road itself is made of oil. So all the worries about this evaporating and everything else, the roads are made of oil. Asphalt is made of oil, and it gives off gases as well. And they're not worried about that, and they've got, I don't know how many miles of paved roads, and they repave them all the time. And you think that asphalt isn't giving off? I love the smell of fresh asphalt in the morning. You know, like it's giving off gases and everything else. So you don't think it is, you're crazy. And those lines are giving off nothing. These woke and go broke people, they drive me nuts. And now they're talking about these lines on the road. And you wonder why these people are broke. Got no money. City's got no money. These climate change people are drive you nuts. Woke and go broke. It's not just a saying. You can't keep up to it. Anything you do now is a climate change or Trump. We're going to blame it on climate change and Trump. Yeah, oh yeah, they blame everything on Trump. They blame everything. You name it, they blame it on Trump. Business goes broke, it's Trump's fault. It doesn't matter. We talked about that yesterday. It's so ridiculous, but yeah, that's what's going on. So Here you go. Blaming it on Trump. We're painting those lines as blaming it on Trump. It has nothing to do with Trump. Blame it on climate change. Little Greta Thunberg. She'll be over here crying on the lines that they're giving off gases. Oh, brother. Let's get to my next sponsor, Hamel Machine Company. I'm telling you, Hamel Machine Company has been around since 1948, serving industry in Niagara Falls. And you know what? Industry has to have good machine shops to work with, because when they break down, time is money. They can't be broke down for 2 or 3 days or a month and a half. They've got to get going. They got to get everything up and running. So when they break down, who do they call? Hamel Machine Company. They go in there, take a look at it, and say, "Yeah, we can reverse engineer that. We can fix that. As a matter of fact, let me see how it works. Maybe we can improve on that." They're innovators, they're inventors. They make things better for industry, and they ship their stuff all over the world because they are innovators, and they've created innovations that all industry wants. The grape industry, the agricultural products, hydroponics industry, rich products. They've made parts of machines for them to make their production more efficient. That's what they do. They work with big industry, small industry, and people like us. If you have something that broke, you need welded, you need fixed. It's got to have certain tolerances. You sheared a pin and screwed up your keyway. They can fix all that. They can fix it all, put it back together, and make it run as good as new. You need a set of gates for your backyard. They can design them, fabricate them for you. They have water jet cutters, 3D printers. They do it all at Hamel Machine Company for big and small industry and guys like me and you. Call them today if you have a problem. Check out their work at hamelmachine.ca. And when you go there and you give them a call, tell them Paul from your city, your voice sent you. They'll be glad to hear that. They're beautiful people, very nice. They support Niagara Falls. They support the city, and they've been here since 1948. You can't ask much more for that from a company in Niagara Falls. Okay, let's just get over to this plane crash. Was it yesterday? I've lost track of time here. Maybe it was Wednesday or yesterday. Anyway, either way, it was in the past day or so. Now, 241 people killed, and one was from Mississauga, believe it or not. And a dentist from Mississauga was killed. She was over there and was coming back on that flight, and it went down. But when I looked at this, and I'm no expert on planes and everything. I do a lot of research on stuff, but I know a little bit about it. But I've never flown a plane. I've flown in a plane. I've never flown a plane. I've never piloted. But I do. I'm entertained by how they work. So I was just watching this, and from what I saw, this is only my theory. I don't know. Of course, because you're going to get the black boxes to tell the truth. But everything from what I saw, and it appears the engines were working fine, because it'll roll down the runway. It'll hit V1, which is the velocity it needs to take off according to the load it's got aboard. So they got to reach a certain speed to take off. And once they reach that speed, they call it VR. And that's the time you pull back the yoke and rotate it. You lift off, you take off. And it looks like you got that. But then it just lost all its lift and dropped to the ground. This happened all within 30 seconds, remember. So if those engines were working to get it off the ground, I can't see a drastic failure of the engines. Both engines. There's two engines on this jet, and one of them will get it off the ground. It can fly on one. So once it's off the ground, it can fly on one. One engine might not get it to V1, but it would get if it hits V1, it can take off, and the engine will fly it. But it didn't happen. It went like that, and then it just dropped, and that means it's lost lift. And from what I could see, there were no flaps. Now, flaps are usually 20 to 30. The setting's 20 to 30, and that helps the plane get lift. It makes the wing bigger. In the wing, of course, the Bertolli effect, the air rushes faster. I think it's faster over the top because it's an airfoil than it does under the bottom, and it creates a low pressure, and the plane lifts into the low pressure. And that's how it works. So planes are meant to fly. They're not meant to crash. They're meant to fly. They're designed to fly. That's what they want to do. It's their nature. Once you get going fast enough, it'll fly. Just like cars, they'll fly too. But what you do is you put air dams and everything, put the air pressure pressing down on them to keep them on the ground. These race cars. But these are meant to fly. They're meant to take off. And once they're up, barring any major problem, they'll stay up. But if you don't have enough lift, you don't put the flaps out, and you leave your wheels down, that's drag, because the whole idea of flying is thrust overcomes load, and lift overcomes drag, right? Fast enough and low drag. So when you get your wheels down, that's more drag. So if by some accident, the co-pilot or pilot, whoever wasn't flying the plane, put the flaps in instead of taking the landing gear up, if he mixed it up, then all of a sudden that plane's going to lose lift. And once it loses lift, it starts sinking. And I'm talking, people are saying, oh, well, if they could, we're talking seconds here to figure out what's wrong, make the right decisions, and get that plane flying. And there's a point where it just won't happen. And looked at the end like whatever happened, they corrected it and it was starting to come up again, but it had lost so much lift it just dropped. And to me, I don't know. I'm just telling you what I think. To me, it looks like pilot error. Whoever did it just pushed the wrong buttons. Instead of putting flaps down and landing gear up, they put landing gear down and flaps in. Once it loses lift, it hits the ground, and that's it. It's over. And, flaps are set for different things on every flight, depending on, go 10, 20, 30. Depends on how much weight you have on the plane, how much fuel you have on the plane, because everything accounts for load. And the more load, the more thrust you need, and the more flaps you need to create lift, to lift that load, right? So you got to have the speed and you got to have the lift to be able to take off. And that's V1, and VR is rotate. And once they pull that yoke back, they start going. But if there's not enough lift to hold the plane up, keep the plane up, then you're going down. You get a stall. And when they say the plane is in a stall, they don't mean that the motor's conked out. They mean the plane has lost lift and it can't fly anymore. So there you go. That's what I saw. I could be wrong. Maybe the engines did shut down. I didn't see that. I didn't hear that on the videos I watched. So we'll see. They'll know. The black boxes will tell the tale. It'll get straightened out, and we'll find out. But let's see if I'm right. I'm just looking to see if I'm right or wrong. I might be full of it, and you guys out there might tell me I'm full of it. But that's the way I saw it. That's the way I saw it. So we'll see. We'll see what they say. But I mean, you've got 30 seconds this whole thing lasted, and that's not a lot of time. It's not a lot of time. You have to make split-second decisions. You're going 200 miles an hour. You got to make split-second decision as to why your plane is dropping. There's a reason why it's dropping. And if you don't have the settings right in that, even if you correct it, flaps at 20, landing gear up, by time that happens, you're in a situation that you can't recover from. That's how fast it happens at, 30 seconds. I mean, we're talking like no time at all. Now, I asked somebody once that flies Cessnas and all that. I said, do you think you can fly one of those big planes? And they said, oh, yeah, I could fly it. No problem. I could sit in the seat and fly it. But if anything goes wrong at 500 miles an hour, 550, you got to know what you're doing. You got to be trained, because you have to make decisions in a split second. I could fly it, they said, but if anything went wrong, I'd be in trouble because I don't know what I have to make. You have to make second decisions. A lot of these crashes, everything happens in a matter of 30 seconds, 40 seconds. This goes and that goes and this goes and that goes. And you've got to be correcting them. And if you don't, you're done. You're done. You have to just know from training. That's why they go through so much training. So we'll see what happened there. But I saw this one guy did survive. And I'm going, really? I mean, I don't know about you, but this is unbelievable. This plane loaded with fuel for a long trip crashes, blows up in a fireball, and one guy walks away. He's in the hospital only for observation. He doesn't even get injured, I don't think. How can this be? How can this be? Was the guy even on the plane? That's my question. Was he on this plane? Weird, man. Weird. Weird. But he was in seat 11A, and I'm sure 11A, that seat on these planes, will be the favorite seat of everybody from now on, and you won't be able to get that seat. It's going to be reserved right away. You won't be able to get that seat. Forget about it. Everybody's been going there. They're going to probably put a surcharge on that seat. So we'll see what happens. I don't know about this guy though. That's weird. He comes walking out like nothing. I mean, a big fireball and everything. I mean, this thing, it killed people on the ground. It hit a medical student residence or something. And this guy comes walking out like nothing happened. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. That's tough to believe, but it happened. But, who knows? People are lucky. I remember one guy I knew he drank a lot. I said to him, "How come you drink so much?" He goes, "Well, because drinking saved my life." And I go, "It saved your life? How the heck does drinking save your life?" Well, I was in Montreal at the airport, sitting there drinking before my flight, and I missed my flight. And that flight was the Air Canada flight that crashed. He said, "If I was on that plane, I'd be dead right now." Staying at the bar and drinking with a bunch of people saved my life. Okay, that explains it. Now, speaking of Boeing, 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 I mean, these guys are in this company's in big trouble. I think I saw Dubai just canceled their order of 787s. But first it was the MAX 8s. They were having problems with them, the computers and the way they're designed. And two planes crashed before they finally shut them down. They were shut down for like a year and a half, these planes. They wouldn't allow them to fly. They had to reconfigure this, reconfigure the programming, the computers, send everybody for more training before they let them in the air again. Seemed to have it corrected. And then the I don't know, the 757 Max 8 or whatever they are. Then the Max 9s, same model, but a Max 9. The door flies off in mid-flight coming from Alaska. So that was a big problem. They had to ground them. The 787 Dreamliner model that crashed yesterday was also grounded for a time several years back. And then they sent a rocket to the space station. Do you remember that? They blew these and they couldn't get them home. Boeing, that's Boeing. They couldn't get them home. So Musk had to go up and rescue them. So, so they're not having good luck with any of this here, although that was the first 787 of this model to crash. So, it's a tragedy and condolences to the family of everybody who died in the crash. I mean, but I'm sure Boeing officials right now are hoping it was pilot error and not something mechanical with the plane, because if it was, it's just another X on their coffin, another nail in the coffin. I mean, these guys, stock dropped 8% after this accident. If there's some kind of problem with that airplane, then there's going to be real trouble for Boeing. But to me, I just, from what I saw, I think it's pilot error. I don't think both those engines shut down at once. I mean, that's an oddity. That's yeah, that just don't happen. They say it could have sucked in birds and that, but I think the Mayday would have included a bird strike. They would say that, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Stay tuned to this one. That's going to be whatever happened too for me if I don't keep hearing about it. And you can guarantee that the FAA from the United States, the Transportation Safety Board from the States, whatever it's called, they're going to be over there too because it's an American company that made these. So they're going to be over there investigating this along with Indian authorities and other authorities. So it looks like tomorrow there's going to be big trouble in LA. And there's going to be more trouble across the United States and big cities as there's an expected big day of protesting that's funded and coordinated. And no matter what these people on TV tell you, these are not peaceful protests. They're fighting with the police, they're burning cars, they're looting buildings. This is 5 years ago, the Summer of Love, they called it, when they took over Portland, the capital, Portland, and had it for the whole summer, and the cops wouldn't go in and do anything. That's under Joe Biden's government. So this is going to happen tomorrow. It's supposed to happen tomorrow. Keep your eyes open for it. And I said a month ago on this show right here that these immigrants, illegal immigrants, these criminals are not going to go peacefully because they're being funded by the left, well funded, with masks against the tear gas and stuff. They're well funded. Somebody's funding them, just like they funded BLM and Antifa. And they've got rocks and hammers and bricks being dropped, these gas masks being dropped. Somebody's paying for all these. Somebody's paying for all those signs and T-shirts and everything else you see. And also, these guys are being bussed in. These guys are being bussed in to protest. So I said they're not leaving without a fight, and they're not gonna. Trump sent in 4,000 National Guards, 700 Marines, and he's going to be starting to send them all over the United States wherever they need them. And you're going to see Baltimore and New York City and all these other places, including Toronto. They're going to be out in the street. So keep an eye out tomorrow for that. It's going to happen, and we'll see if it does and how bad it gets. But it could get really bad really quick. And yesterday, I think I talked about this, or Tuesday. I talked about how Israel, a strike on Iran was imminent, and it happened last night. As Israel hammered nuclear storage facilities across Iran while strategically taking out military units that house the IRCG leaders, IRGC, whatever they're called, and killed several military bigwigs as well as nuclear scientists. So they went after a lot of people for this. And we're going to have to see how long this attack lasts, and more importantly, how Iran will retaliate to this operation. They cannot sit and just take it on the chin. They got to reply, and they're going to reply. But Israel said they're not going to stop until they take away Iran's nuclear capability. That was stated by Netanyahu in a speech last night. Now, they've apparently launched hundreds of drones, but Israel says no problem. We're going to intercept them. And there's other places like Qatar, and I think maybe even Syria or somebody else who's intercepting these drones, helping them out. And I think Iran is done. I think it's the end of them. And Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State for the U.S., made sure that everybody knew that the U.S. was not involved in these raids. As a matter of fact, they are looking to have peace. The supreme leader, Ayatollah Khomeini, is taken off. He's fled the country, gone in hiding. Generals are gone. Iran's falling like a rock. And the people on the streets are celebrating the removal of these tyrants, dictators. Hezbollah surrenders. They're saying, we're not fighting anymore. We're done. You don't have to worry about us. And when the religious bigwig, Ayatollah Khomeini, if he flees the country, then it's probably just about over. If you remember last time when he fled, the former Ayatollah fled. It was the Shah of Iran that came in. puppet of the United States, but friendly no less. And he took over, and Iran would be like going to the United States. The women wearing bikinis, dressed in short skirts, would be like any other normal country until the Khomeini came back after the Shah was deposed, and and put it back into this religious fundamentalism mode. So anyway, the threat of nuclear war is not in anybody's mind anymore. Israel's going to keep that until they wipe them out. And Trump has said many times that the U.S. is not going to let Iran have nuclear weapons, threatening the world. And the biggest concern, I would say right now, in my opinion, is sleeper cells in the United States. They've let 20 million people across that border, Biden did, and they are here undocumented. Nobody knows where they are, who they are. They came from all over the world, not just Mexico or South America. There are these sleeper cells in the United States. Iran might try to activate them, and that could get ugly. So we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, I'm done for the day. I'm getting out of here for the weekend. Monday, City Council review with Dave Wheeler. Dave Wheels, he'll be in the studio, and we're going to be doing the City Council agenda, telling you what's going on, pointing out the highlights, and getting ready for the meeting on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And Tuesday morning, I will do last call, which basically, if there's any changes to the agenda, the additions that we didn't talk about, I'll talk about that. Have a happy Father's Day to all those going to Port Dover today. Ride safe, right? Keep the rubber on the ground. Let's go. Be safe out there. Don't get crazy. Be safe. We want everybody to return home and have a great Father's Day weekend. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls in the studios of 4680Q Radio. God bless you all. We'll see you Monday at noon with City Council Agenda Review. Have a great weekend. It's going to be nice. And don't forget to support our sponsors. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamill Machine Company. Talk to you later. Have a great weekend. Ciao, ciao. For now, everybody. See you Monday.